New episode of the Sean Widmer podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. It's a Wednesday when I'm recording this, and I'll let you know we've got some Gonzaga basketball to talk here in a couple minutes. But we start at the tippy top of the mountain. We start at a story that I'm maybe 3 years late to. I probably should have researched this before. Let me see. Let me see how many years behind I am on this. This would have been stuff I could have done earlier and cut out this part of it. Now, you know what? I'm not going to be able to find the story. I think it is 2 years old. Story is 2 years old. I did something yesterday for the first time, and I will tell you, I have been all in on the chicken sandwich wars. It's one of my favorite things. Fast food restaurants getting into chicken sandwich wars. Every week, a new fast food place will release a statement. We have entered the chicken sandwich wars. The latest was Taco Bell, who a couple weeks ago announced they're entering the chicken sandwich wars with a taco, which we talked about. Taco's not a sandwich, Taco Bell. I understand that you want to play the game, but you got to be a sandwich stop to play the game. I would hate it if Burger King suddenly said, we are entering the chalupa game, and just made a hamburger with some chalupa stuff inside of it. Not how that works. Anyways, everyone wants to play in the chicken sandwich game. And McDonald's has entered it lately. Wendy's, of course, did it. BK did it. But the ones that started it all were, and I think this was 2 years ago, Popeyes versus Chick-fil-A. That's kind of the starting point of this whole discussion. And years ago, Popeyes came out with their chicken sandwich. They got a huge rush on it. People loved it. You couldn't buy it. Do you remember that? There was a time for a while where you would go to a fast food restaurant, and if you weren't there at the very beginning of their day, you could not get their item. Not at all. You'd be waiting forever in a line to get one item, and they would be sold out. And then they would have to tell you, we'll have more in 3 or 4 weeks. And then you would go and you'd hopefully get a restock on those. They were like NBA Top Shot 2 years ago. It was crazy. It was one of the wildest things I've ever witnessed in the fast food world. So Popeyes has this chicken sandwich, and since then, they've been really busy with all of this. They finally got it figured out that, oh, this is a really good sandwich. We need to have this regularly. I think they call it the chicken sandwich now if you go to a Popeyes. Well, I never had one. We tried to go one time, and we got two Popeyes. They were sold out, and then we tried to get other stuff, and they were sold out of that too. It was a nightmarish experience. The first time and only time I'd ever been to Popeyes. So I'd never tried this chicken sandwich, but we got a Chick-fil-A here in Spokane, and we did not have one before then. And I will say, I really liked it. And I remember having my first Chick-fil-A sandwich and thinking, yeah, Popeyes maybe they've entered the game. These other fast food places have entered the game, but this is really good. Chick-fil-A is really good. Well, yesterday, I got to solidify my opinion because yesterday I went to Popeyes and got the chicken sandwich. 2 years or 3 years, whatever it is later, after the big rush, I finally got involved in the chicken sandwich game. And I laugh. I laughed today. And I laughed yesterday because there have been, for the last couple years, chicken sandwich wars. Who is going to have the chicken sandwich to beat all chicken sandwiches? And now that I've had the Popeyes chicken sandwich, I realize that people are entering a war that was already won a couple years ago. And I laugh. I think, oh, a couple weeks ago, I tried one of the chicken sandwiches from a different fast food place and thought, this has got to be the best. The Popeyes chicken sandwich is out of this world. It's not even on the playing field with the other sandwiches. They're in another battle altogether. It's almost like they're fighting for the love of Popeyes. You're fighting for second place. Everyone else, you're BYU, spoiler alert, for a couple minutes from now. You're BYU, and then this Popeyes chicken sandwich is Gonzaga because it is head and shoulders, those are the body parts, above every other chicken sandwich. I couldn't believe it. I had never had one. And so I would tell you, if you have not had one, go out today. Go out right now. In fact, I don't know what you're doing right now. Go there right now. Even if the store's closed, go get in line, wait until they open, and snag one. It's a different kind of deal. It's a game changer. That thing was unbelievable. And this is coming from someone who is not very picky with his fast food at all. In fact, I love Chick-fil-A. I love their sandwiches. I will say this, Chick-fil-A, you still have the better fries in that battle, but it's not a fry war. It's a chicken sandwich war. In the chicken sandwich war, Popeyes, you get the win by a mile over everyone. Taco Bell, I love you. I don't know what your chicken taco sandwich is going to be, but it's not going to be as good as that Popeyes sandwich. Holy smokes. I think the bread is just 2 things of butter. Which, when I'm going to a fast food place, I know what I'm getting into. I want 2 slabs of butter. I think the chicken sandwich is chicken with a gigantic slab of butter. It's just a big butter sandwich with chicken involved in it and a couple pickles, and I love it. It was so good. So there you go. I finally entered the game. I finally got into that world. I'm so happy I did. It took me 2 years to finally get one. And here's the deal. I will be back. It's a bummer. Here in Spokane, our closest Popeyes is in Post Falls, Idaho, which is probably a 35-minute drive from my house. And I will tell you, it's worth it. That sandwich is worth it. It's a freeway drive, so you can just pop on a podcast. I cruised with my daughter. We needed to get out of the house. We were going to get our buddy Brandon lunch. He needed a little lunch yesterday. We owed him lunch, so we cruised on out there, enjoyed the freeway, enjoyed the weather, the scenery, snagged the sandwiches, drove over to Brandon's, dropped him one off, and just had a heck of a time on that drive. And that's the other thing I was laughing. I told one of my buddies, they said, well, would you go to Chick-fil-A or would you go to Popeyes? And I said, it's not fair because in Spokane, if you're trying to drive north-south, nothing's worth it. There's nothing worth it. You have to drive through about 50,000 stoplights just to get halfway to Chick-fil-A from my house. That drive is a nightmare. The drive out to Popeyes, it's all freeway. It's beautiful. And then Popeyes is right off the freeway. So Popeyes, not only do you win the sandwich war, you win location war. Congratulations on that for us locally here in Spokane, Washington. Okay. It happened yesterday, a huge day for Gonzaga University, a huge day. And it started early with big news where a couple sites, I think it was Sports Illustrated and Sporting News, announced Corey Kispert, Gonzaga Bulldog Corey Kispert, is first team All-American. First team All-American. Huge honor for this guy. There's 5 All-Americans that are announced. Thank you, All-Americans, by the way, for doing this right. Because conferences, for instance, the West Coast Conference, they will do the Big Sky Conference, Pac-12. Look at me. I can name conferences, guys. This is, you want to challenge? Big 12. ACC. I can only do the big ones, though. So the conferences will do their Player of the Year awards or their first team awards. And their first team is 10 players long, which has never made sense to me. There's 5 players. Pick 5 players. I get it. Someone's going to have their feelings hurt. It's sports. Someone's had their feelings hurt for the last 4 or 5 months when they lose games. It's not like this is the first time a lot of these people have taken an L. Also a spoiler, that would be different for Gonzaga this year. But Corey Kispert gets on an All-American roster where it is just 5 players across the entire nation get picked on this All-American team. Now, there have been 4 other, and I'm assuming this right now, Corey Kispert is going to be consensus All-American. He's going to be on that list. What that means is all the All-American lists, you accumulate... You take all the lists, and they pick 5 guys from all the lists who are your consensus All-Americans, and Corey Kispert's going to be on that list. There's only 4 other Zags up to this point who have done that. Daniel David Dickow, 2002. Adam Morrison, 2006. Kelly Olynyk, 2013. And Rui Hachimura, 2019. Those 4 guys are the only other consensus All-Americans Gonzaga's had. Corey Kispert's going to be on that list. This is a high praise moment, and this is a moment where I don't know if the global pandemic affected it, where last year the Zags didn't get to play in the tournament, and this year no one got to see them play live in terms of fans and stuff like that. And stuff like that, I just mean fans. No one got to see him live. And so I think Corey Kispert is going to go down as one of those Zags who should be on the walls in the gym. He should have the banners in the gym. I'm not saying retire his number, but I'm saying there should be big Corey Kispert pictures when you walk in. There should be stories and tales about how great he is. He needs to be considered one of the greatest Zags of all time. But it's funny because Gonzaga is at a point now where you're 20 years into this Mark Few thing, and then of course you've got some guys in the past who are really good as well. But the last 20 years have been just crazy good for Gonzaga. People really like to hold on to the beginning of this run into even like 2013, 2014, I feel like is where you start to get into new school Zags, and it's hard for people to put in a guy like Corey Kispert into a list as one of the greatest Zags because that means you are messing with the 2000 Zags, and you can't do that. Well, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. And consensus All-American is the reason you can do that with anyone. It's why Rui Hachimura has to be considered one of the greatest Zags of all time. It's why Corey Kispert is one of the greatest Zags of all time. So that happens yesterday morning. He gets announced as an All-American. Very cool start to the day for Gonzaga. Then the Gonzaga women's team is in the WCC championship game against BYU. And Jill Townsend, who scored 14 points a game all season, has not made a shot all day, and there's 0.6 seconds left on the clock, and Gonzaga's down 1. She's 0 for 5. There's other girls who have scored buckets. Jill Townsend's normally really good. Had a rough day yesterday. She's fighting the flu. So with 0.6 seconds, Coach Lisa goes, you know who we're going to draw this play up for? The girl who's 0 for 5. The girl who can't make a bucket right now. The girl who's sick. And what does Jill Townsend do? She says, hey, guys, I'm really good at basketball. She catches one picks up a screen in the middle of the key, catches a fader from the left side of the basket, and just nets it. I mean, it rips twine. It doesn't touch the rim, and it's bonkers bananas. Let's go. Gonzaga wins the WCC championship for the women. It was awesome, and it's just one of those great basketball players are great basketball players. I love it. Shoot or shoot. It was every analogy you've told, anything you've ever told someone who's in a shooting slump, Jill Townsend proved it yesterday. So solid. She's great. And she's also just an awesome person. So it was good to see her hit that shot, and Gonzaga wins that. So then the night rolls around. Gonzaga men, they're trying to do something 19 other teams in the history of college basketball dating back to the beginning of college basketball have done. And that's go undefeated through a regular season. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. 19 other teams have done it. Gonzaga is getting beat up in the first half. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if the flu also hit the men, but they were playing like they did. They were playing like they were all sick. No one was playing defense. No one was making shots. And then it was a different world in the second half. Whatever happened at halftime there? Well, Corey Kispert said after the game, they were told, hey, bud, hey, guys, defense, ratchet it. Just ratchet it, and not a little bit, like ratchet it all the way up, because I don't think you put the bolts into the defense machine. So get them in there, tighten them all the way up, and let's go. Gonzaga comes out. They're defending. Guys like Jalen Suggs are everywhere on the defensive end. Nembhard is guarding extremely well. Dudes are getting rebounds. Joella Yai is mixing things up on defense. It got real. Gonzaga on defense, by the way, second half defense, one of the things they do extremely well is off-ball switching on mismatches. And this is something I've noticed a couple times this season, but I love it. They will have a situation where there is a screen at the top of the key, and Nembhard, for instance, is suddenly guarding a 6'10" guy. And that's a mismatch. And the guy will just pour down into the key, and he's looking to get a great entry pass and just make an easy bucket. And before you know it, Nembhard is now guarding a guy in the corner, and Corey Kispert is down under the basket in a much more favorable matchup for Gonzaga than this big guy just dominating a small guard. And they do it fluidly. They do it quickly. There must be a lot of talk going on the court. I love it. I love it. And so Gonzaga is getting beat down in the first half. They come out, they ratchet up the defense, and they just start crushing BYU. Before you know it, a lead of 12 is gone. It's just totally gone. And the second it was gone, I understand BYU made another run and put the score, distanced themselves a bit. But as soon as Gonzaga caught up at the beginning of the second half, you knew it was over. It took 5 minutes in the second half. Gonzaga came back. They got the game within 2. And yes, BYU pulled away from there, but it never felt like they were going to win. It just didn't feel like it. Gonzaga looked better. They are better. And they just drove the nail right through BYU, and they win it by 10. Gonzaga ends up going from a situation where you're down 12 to winning a game by 10 because the rest of the WCC schools aren't even in the same ballpark as Gonzaga. We've talked about it all season, and I get it. BYU is probably going to be a single-digit seed in the NCAA tournament, which is really impressive. But Gonzaga is going to be the single-digit seed, the number 1 seed overall. They're just way better. They're just so much better. And BYU is going to get in the tournament, and you know, people are going to come out and say, this could be your team that could make a little bit of a run. They're not. Spoiler, they're not. BYU, sorry, you're not. You're going to make a couple threes in a tournament game. People are going to get excited, and then you're going to lose in the first round. So it's just, Gonzaga was awesome yesterday. Great day for that university. Great day for their sports programs. I don't actually know if it was a great day for the university. I didn't follow what happened on campus. I actually just know it was good for the basketball team. So I would like to take that back in case something dreadful happened. Maybe everyone at school got an F on all of their papers yesterday. That wouldn't be as good of a look for the school. But a great day for Gonzaga men's basketball. They head into the tournament undefeated. They're the 20th team ever to do that. They're probably going to win the doggone thing. They're that good. I love it. I'm excited. March Madness is here. By the way, I need to get Dickow on this podcast. Dan Dickow had the dumbest tweet I'd seen this month yesterday. I gotta find it. Dickow, what are you doing? What are you doing with this tweet? Okay, let's see if I can find it. There's a lot of tweets. There's a lot of tweets here yesterday. I guess when Gonzaga plays a game, my Twitter gets very, very bogged down with Gonzaga stuff. And apparently Dickow tweets a lot on days Gonzaga plays. Okay, here's Dan Dickow's worst take and one that I would like him to come on here and defend to me. March Madness continues. Best week of college hoops season may be conference tourney week. The best week of college hoops may be conference tourney week? Daniel. Daniel. No, it may not be. It may not be. I'm sorry. The small school tournaments with the teams winning buzzer beaters are not good. They're great games. Whatever, a kid hits a buzzer beater in the Sun Belt Conference and they go to the NCAA tournament to get beat down by an actual school by 15 in the first round. Congratulations. No, the best weeks in March are the NCAA tournament. There's no maybe about it. There's no, but look, there were some close games and some buzzer beater. And now the Horizon has a team that's going to go in as a 13 seed, and they won it because a guy hit a cool 3-point shot and had a lot of points. Okay, congratulations. You're about to get crushed by Arkansas. You're about to get taken out by Iowa by 1 billion. No, conference tourney week is nowhere near the best week in March in terms of college hoops. There are some good games. There's a lot of basketball, but nothing will compare to the first week of the NCAA tournament. And then if you want actual good basketball consistently, the next 2 weeks are pretty stinking good in the NCAA tournament. You've got really good teams playing high-level basketball. That's going to be better than that. Dickow, come on the podcast, defend yourself. Also, don't hedge, Danny. Best week of college hoops season, maybe conference tourney week. Go out and just claim it. Plant your flag in this week of college hoops. Dickow's been crushing it, though. You need to go check out his podcast. It is, I think if you just search Dan Dickow on the podcast apps you're on right now, Bulldog Broadcast. Dan Dickow's Bulldog Broadcast. He has been doing unbelievably great Gonzaga interviews with Gonzaga players. You need to go check it out. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thanks to everyone who's left a review on iTunes. You guys are the best. Thanks to anyone who shared the podcast, whether that's just word of mouth or retweeting it, posting it. That's been really cool to see. And thank you to anyone who's hit me up on text or Twitter to give me a thumbs up on an episode or tell me that I had the worst takes of all time. I appreciate that as well. Popeyes, I'll see you later.